Public Works Committee to order. This was posted in accordance with the rules. I'm not going to read it since nobody else reads it these days. We'll pause momentarily for Marcy.
Hey. Sorry. Couldn't get my car de-iced.
Your husband didn't go out and start it ahead of time?
He's in Wausau.
We don't know about William. Doug is excused. We'll start with a silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So we'll start with the consent agenda, which was pretty simple, just the last minutes. Any questions, comments, concerns? If not, I would look for a motion to approve. John makes the motion.
I will second it.
Marcy seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. So we'll move on to our discussion items. Mr. Schmidt.
Yes, thank you. There's been a little change as far as what's going on in the consent agenda and going into discussion items. Certainly Mary can correct me if I make a mistake. But stuff that was traditionally in the consent agenda, that was like our transit ridership report, our highway monthly update. It was decided that now we're going to put that into the discussion items. You don't have to discuss them. You can certainly just
say no discussion.
No discussion and move on your merry way. But those items now traditionally, which have been in consent, will now be in discussion. So just like before, you would have to pull it out of consent. Now you just talk about them in discussion. So there's nothing unique in those reports as far as that's concerned, as far as outside of the norm. But just that it's a policy change here at the county to put those. Basically, your consent is going to be basically, is it appointments and?
Appointments, financials, and minutes.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't have any comments, except that I noticed you sent out an information letter that the Highway M reconstruction was going to be delayed. Have you got any feedback on that, positive or negative?
The only feedback that we received so far was from the utility companies, which wanted to delay their utility work. And so, as you know, with the construction projects going on to scheduling with all the state funding, we have to have those applications by April 1st. We're hoping to know shortly after that. So it's quite possible that the project could still go this year if they tell us right away that there is no funding, because that Highway M project was not scheduled to start until mid-May anyway. So if you know early on, because our part of Highway M is in the urbanized area, I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but that's sewer pack. And so we might get an answer from sewer pack quicker than we will from the DOT on the Pioneer portion. So we'll know we're hopefully relatively soon if we do that. So we might have to we might still be able to bid it out this year yet and go to work. But yes, no contact from any of the neighbors that are along that route. We sent it to a couple subdivisions that are off of County Highway M as well. So no negative feedback on that at all, or positive for that matter.
Okay. Why would sewer pack be involved?
So there are different pots of money. So there's called STP, so Surface Transportation Program, rural. So think about the rural areas. Then there's urban areas. Okay. So we're the southern half of Germantown and Richfield, if you kind of think about, you get money from the urbanized area from Milwaukee. But now we're competing with every municipality in the county of Milwaukee and about 3/4 of Waukesha counties. So typically speaking, we don't do very well on that because it's a scoring system. We don't have a lot of bus lanes. We don't have a lot of sidewalks, right, on our roadways and a bunch of other stuff. The unfortunate thing is that, Ozarka County gets one vote, we get one vote, and think Waukesha gets like 3 votes, right? The county and a couple of municipalities. Milwaukee County gets the lion's share of the votes, so when they want to make a rule change, they can almost snap their fingers and make a rule change. But with this unique opportunity for this first round, Surpac's making the decisions, and we're not going through because of the timing to go through all the procedures, if you will.
Because usually
So we have
sewer
better
pack is
chance.
just advisory and they don't,
Nope, this is, they get to, because they're the MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, they get to kind of guide us, if you will. And this one we're looking at, they might just have to select them because of the time frame and not being able to score out all the projects properly.
excellent.
Yeah, which is great for us, because usually we don't score very well because of the
Right,
the things you
right.
mentioned. So there's a couple different pots of money that there's also the bridge pot of money, but also the West Bend urbanized area. So we had a meeting to discuss that with a lot of local municipalities and what that means. So
Okay,
we're hopeful we get some funding.
does anybody want to discuss anything else? Okay,
Whether our transit ridership is still down.
Yeah, you look at both numbers are actually down in January, both the shared ride and the commuter express. Certainly, as you know, at the first year, we had different routes for commuter express timings, I should say. The routes are the same, different times. So we're gonna, 1 month is a short little window that for whatever reason, shared ride taxi was down 2 in January, which was just kind of odd. It wasn't like we had a lot of snow days or anything like that would have caused that.
Are your driver numbers back up for shared ride?
We are much better where we are right now.
driver numbers
Yeah.
affected it.
100%. Driver numbers and vehicle. So we had
Yeah.
4 new vehicles then in January online. We got them earlier, but now they're finally, in service. So it's been much better. So that could have been something right around the beginning of the month, maybe with driver shortage. We had a weekend, we had to pull off in January, if you remember. So
That could have been the effect. We-
most likely,
Wait and see.
I don't want to pin it on one thing specifically, but certainly all those little things and makes a difference. We'll continue to watch the numbers. They'll be in your monthly report, and hopefully sometime after the election, we'll start to hear from Surpac on the Commuter Express.
Okay,
Read an article that more and more businesses are recalling their employees now.
Oh,
So some of the bigger ones are starting even in Seattle. So I think that's gonna end up being a wave
right.
that we're likely to see more accurate assessment of what the WCC ridership is
Right.
going forward.
I would definitely agree that, as restrictions lift a little bit, that's definitely a possibility that they come back and
We'll really be able to see if it's still gonna stay down that way. So we'll have
better indication.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to the town of Jackson Bridge Aid.
So you have in your a report for the town of Jackson Bridge Aid. They had bid the project out. And unfortunately, when you do a bridge aid project, you put your estimate in several years ahead of actual bidding out the bridge. And then you bid out the bridge. And certainly there's some reasons why the bridge is a little longer, right, and all that kind of stuff that the estimate originally, you certainly could, right now you could use inflation too, but a whole bunch of reasons why basically the bridge came in higher than was anticipated. Which when we looked at that and compared to our County Highway H bridge going, yeah, you're right. The unit cost and everything else is not outrageous. It's not like you did something wrong at the town or they designed something wrong or anything like that. Just kind of the way it was. So the town asked for additional funds for the bridge. Of note on this is we actually added a small contingency in with this one and the next one because of certainly during the construction project, something could go like our H bridge too, and you're driving piles into the ground, right? You don't know how, you can estimate how far they're going to go, but you just don't know, right? Or some stuff comes up versus them coming back to the committee for $1,000 or whatever it is. We decided working with the municipalities that it'd be contingency. And again, all the bridge projects, all the funding goes through the state and we reimburse, the town will then reimburses the state and the county then reimburses the town. So it has to be a true, dollar amount coming through. So if the project doesn't use the contingency, the contingency money just stays right at the county. It's not like we pay this bill to the town at the beginning and saying, here you go. It's all reimbursing the town and the town then reimburses the state. So if they're on the ball, they can give us the bill the same time they give the state, and they have the money in their coffers. Once we give it to them, right back to the state. So it doesn't have to be a lag. It really is up to the towns and how quickly they can turn around their invoices. So staff supports it. If you saw, there's funds available to do this one. It's been previously approved already. If you have any questions, I certainly can try to answer those.
I guess the only question I would have is this doesn't fall under that new aid package yet. Oh, right, because this is work that's already been done.
It's work that's already been done. Yes, as you may have heard, right, some of the new bridge funding might be up to 100%, right? The one good thing is that the town, I should have pointed this out, went through its change management process or is still going through it. I think still going through it. And so that might be there's more money in there for when changes happen. Sometimes the DOT is right now is saying, if a change happens, you're on your own town. You pay for it, right? And then we would split the cost at the county level. With more money in the coffers, there's more money for that change management. This one probably wouldn't be eligible for that 100% because it's not a new project going forward. I just don't know, nobody knows. It's very hard to get a bridge project started right now and being done by plans and engineering by August 1st. I don't know how much that money is actually going to be designated to other bridges. Are they going to put it towards future bridges? Are they going to put it towards these past bridges, state bridges? Your guess is as good as mine what the state's going to do with those funds. I just don't know. I would say right now we plan on this, and if something happens, it'd be great, and that we would split whatever costs the town would have in 50-50 like we normally do. It would just be a benefit if we didn't have to.
But this bridge is bad enough that it cannot be delayed.
Right.
And it is the only access that these homeowners have to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, you
There
are.
was a picture, it looked
Right.
pretty rough.
Yeah,
yeah.
you are
It's a
so far down the process already where you can't
Yeah.
delay it. Correct.
Okay.
In looking at the costing or the funding, it looks like we're getting out there where we're spending the local bridge aid years ahead or,
We're trying to plan is what we're looking at doing with that. That's where you see right in the middle of
right.
the 2023 contribution, 24, 25, again, because these bridges are generally a 3 to 5 year period once they start. So we know that those that are down at the bottom, obviously not Badger Road, because you see that one shortly. Beech Nut, West Bend, Orchard Valley, they've applied for the funds now at the state level. And so right now we're just saying that if we get them and we keep that the 100,000 contribution rate, be right near zero when that's done. So the next budget cycle, we might look at one of these increases. The town of Trenton has contacted us on some a small twin culverts. They want to be replaced. So that would be part of this potentially. So that those costs might go up a little bit. But then again, if one of these hits the magical 100%, then you just save yourself $65,000. So
Yeah.
But I know you've talked with all the municipalities,
Yeah, yeah.
and so you probably have a pretty good,
I think we've got a really good idea of what could happen
coming.
in those
Okay.
prices. It's just that what we wanted to show you was we are looking ahead the 5 years, that we're not limiting ourselves by doing this, but also with that graphic that you see up there is that we might have to ask for in the next budget cycle, not next year's budget, but ask for additional funding because of all these that are going on. And that curtails to, there's more state funding, right, for more bridges and they're doing more. So we might have to ask more just to make that up. But on the flip side, if they get 100%, that might make numbers okay.
and we don't have to make that decision for like a year and a half yet.
Correct.
So,
Right. Yep. Unless something magically major happens. So.
Well, in the meantime, if we get funding for M, say we're saving that money, can that then be converted to the bridge
No,
fund
it's a
or
different.
No, separate fund.
separate fund? Okay.
So the bridge fund is a separate fund. So what the county does, the county level levies this, also called 100,000 a year is what it is. And that goes on every town resident in the whole
Sure.
county.
Okay.
So, and then that goes into a segregated fund and it can only be used for this road and bridge aid. So it's not technically never county money. You know what I'm saying? It's a segregated fund for this purpose,
Okay.
for the towns. And the towns, the county board gets to decide if they think the project is worthy and eligible for the funds.
on the other hand, if things work out with them, that money could be put towards a potential whatever we decide to do at S and 175.
Or anywhere else. It's CIP money. So it's just like your CIP
Project
process.
that we need to-
Right, it could be not even be a highway project, it could be anything that the county board desires.
Okay. So, somebody wanna make them, yeah.
Do I have to abstain? I'm on the town board.
Yeah. If she abstains, do we have a quorum?
We do.
Yeah.
Is that because Don can vote?
Don.
I'll make the motion.
I can second it.
Okay, motion made and seconded. You may abstain. Probably proper. So, any other further discussion?
I'm good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
And Marcy abstains.
And with the abstention, as what this happened last time with Doug, is you don't have to abstain.
It just,
The attorney says that if you want to, he understands the reasoning. But it's not a requirement.
Okay. Weird question. In Jackson, pretty much the whole town board signed the resolution, but in the town of Kiwasu, there's only 2 supervisors and the chairman. Just different procedures,
You don't have a
well, we
three-person
have
board.
three-man board.
that's all they have, okay,
Yeah, we have a 5-man, they have a 3-man, so.
okay, 5-man, 4-man through 1 woman.
It's,
Percent.
it's, yeah.
All right,
Semantics.
sorry for the tangent. So we'll move on to the town of Kiwaska Bridge Aid.
So very similar, except for this is a first-time application. So this is for Badger Road up in the town of Kiwaska. They're looking at constructing this bridge in 2023. They have started to incur costs. They had thought they put a resolution together, but we couldn't find anything, and they couldn't find anything. And so they're starting to incur costs, and they sent the invoice to the county. We're like, you didn't do your job yet. So I give credit to them. They stepped to the plate, got the resolution done right away, so that we can keep this process moving forward. So with that too, we did add a contingency, as I mentioned earlier, to this project as well. So you can see their state municipal agreement, SMA, and how we kind of highlighted that below and how we did the math kind of behind the scenes, so you can see how that works out. So if you have any questions, certainly can, but it's the same 80 split, 80 for the state government, 20% local, and that gets split in half with the bridge aid.
Yeah, all looks good to me. Any questions?
Other than it's already in our budget and we've already worked out the numbers, correct?
Yep, it's all in there.
Yeah.
We've been working with their bridge inspector up in the town, because it has to be load rated and it's in such bad shape because they maybe waited a little bit too long. But hopefully by next year it'll be replaced and.
And similarly, that's another one that can't be delayed. It has to. If you're already limiting load.
It's been delayed.
Yeah.
It's time to go.
Okay.
I would make the motion to approve the county aided bridge replacement for the town of Kiwaska.
I can second that again.
John is the second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And our last item is relocation order and memorandum of understanding County Highway Q and Hillside Roundabout.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This roundabout, I'm sure is nothing new to the board. We've been talking about this for a while already. We had public information meetings on it already. So this does lie on the county line between Washington County and Waukesha County. You'll see on the map, which is a little bit better, we're obtaining right away. The majority of the right of way is actually obtained in Washington County. There's an Zanati property in the upper left-hand corner, northwest quadrant up there. But as you see down below with that red line, the red line's a new right of way. The red line down below is we do have to obtain some land down in Waukesha County as well. We, being a sovereign entity and Waukesha being an entity, we cannot obtain land within Waukesha County's boundaries. So we need them to do that for us. And that's the reason for the memorandum of understanding. Very similar, what we did was we took the memorandum of understanding from a bridge project we had done in Monches several years ago, which is also on Highway Q, several miles to the west of here. we just switched around Waukesha and Washington and changed the word bridge to roundabout and sent it on its merry way. We did not recreate the wheel. It worked very well last time. We worked well with Waukesha County. We've been sharing the plans with them. They've commented on the plans, commented on the plat. So they feel very comfortable that what we've done. And as you can see, we are limiting the impacts in Waukesha County as much as we can. Obviously, one of the big things that the house that's in the southeast quadrant, the lower right, is obviously very close. We kind of push the roundabout to the north and to the west to avoid as many impacts as we can to that house in the southeast. Even though the house is in Waukesha County, we're still being good stewards and good neighbors by not pushing it that direction. So with that, we are looking at a 2023 construction with that. That is, again, a highway safety improvement, HISIP funds. So again, 90% paid by the state, 10% local. With this would be the kickoff of the real estate acquisition, which will take up to 6 months. And then utilities can get relocated so that by next spring, we're ready to start construction out there on the roundabout. We're looking at about a 3-month window for that roundabout out there. Like I said, we've been working with the town of Lisbon to the south as well with the gravel pit that's just south of the county line as well. And they're going to reroute their traffic during construction. So we've been communicating with everybody along there. We had a couple site meetings with Mr. Zanotti in the upper left corner. We're putting berms up there for him. If you notice that a lot of pine trees there, a lot of them. And so instead of that, we're looking at putting a berm there, and then he would be able to plant plantings, pine trees, whatever he'd like to on top of that berm. Kind of like the person in the upper right corner has a smaller berm there, probably 4 to 6 feet tall, give or take, with some pine trees on it. So look similar to that. Once all
And
said
those
and
will
done.
not be disturbed.
Yep, you can see that the yellow is our grading limits out there. So the engineering firm did a really, really nice job, and we're really happy with Ari Smith that did that and working with us. And we spent a lot of time with not just this project, but every project looking at this in great detail to try to limit those impacts on those properties. So you can see right there by allowing that roadbed not to change too much vertically, that we're able to stay within the right of way and not impact a lot of the neighbors that are here. This, unfortunately though, when you put a big circle in the middle of a square intersection, you do have to impact some kind of land
Right.
at some point. So with this, we're looking at approval so that we can acquire the right of way, so we can actually create the roundabout at this intersection and do that memorandum of understanding with Waukesha County so that they can do their part. Again, all funds are paid by Washington County. I'll make that clear. And Waukesha County knows that they're not on the hook for the real estate acquisition. They're just going to help us along the process like we're doing today. They're going to do the relocation order and plat, and then everything else is pretty much up to us to complete.
So we give them the money, they purchase it, but they own it?
No, we will be doing that. It'll be Washington County funds purchasing the right of way.
Correct, but
And
who
then
owns the right of way then?
Will be the town of Lisbon.
Town of Lisbon,
Right,
okay.
it'll be turned over to town of Lisbon because that's a town road to the south. Just like when you get up to the north, it becomes Hillside Road, Village of Richfield. So the Richfield will own that, the right of way to the north eventually. What we've done in the past with these municipalities, and I'm going to pick on the town of Jackson, we put a roundabout on GNN several years ago now, 2016, I believe it was. And there too, we kind of have this is what we maintain, and there's a sidewalk crossings over there, believe it or not. So basically we put an agreement together with them saying, with a map saying, this is Washington County, from here south is, we'll do the same thing here where we'll pick a line on the map and saying, this is town of Lisbon's requirement, this is the Village of Richfield's requirement. And then the rest will be County Highway Q. So.
County Highway Q sees a lot of traffic.
Yes.
This is gonna close it for 3 months, so we have detours we have to work out.
No, the detours already worked out and approved by the DOT. We're going 175 to 167 to 164, staying within Washington County. That'll be the official posted detour. When you want to detour a county highway, you want to stay on a county highway or higher. And so there's just not a lot of other options down in Richfield. We could have certainly used options down in Waukesha County. But again, being more neighborly, if you will, it's just easier to keep it within our own county versus going down there in their county and then their citizens complain about extra traffic and all that kind of stuff. But make no mistake about it, local people will follow what they think is right.
Right.
And we were to work with them, and we've got signs posted north on Hillside to get them, so people don't come all the way down or short tail through the subdivision to get back to Q. So we'll have signage up there saying, all right, it's time to get off the hillside now, go east or west. So we'll be doing that as part of the project, right? We anticipate that. We'll be coming down hillside and get stuck at these construction, have to back up or go through the subdivision. So not to say it won't
Turn
happen.
around in the guy's driveway, which he won't like.
Yeah, right. And then just for the record, and I'm pretty sure you alluded to this before, that all the neighbors are on board. I know you worked out some issues with the and you talked about the purchasing of property and all
Yeah,
that.
so we, like I said, we have several site meetings with Mr. Zanatti here. The owners of the duplex to the west of that are up north, a retired couple.
Right.
So we sent them letters, they're aware of it. The public information meeting was sparsely attended.
Yeah.
3 people showed up to it. So you can see there wasn't a big uproar. One of them was one of the landowners in the southwest quadrant who the second parcel to the south, where we're just kind of nipping the corner a little bit. It's 0.008 acres. I mean, it's very minimal.
Right.
So they were not happy with our surveys on site originally, but they came to the public information meeting where we're much better to work with at that point. And it resounded to the fact that I think it was the unknown that they see surveys on property and their surveys are walking a little bit further because they have to survey outside of where we think we're going to stop and worried that they're going to go that far. When in reality, as you can see on here, the green to the red is even hard to see.
Yeah, that's your limits of disturbance, right?
Correct.
So you can't go beyond.
Right, so we might lose one. There's got a kind of a row of arborvitae along there that we're looking at. Maybe one of them might have to get removed. And and we're kind of questioning that if it can stay, but we're kind of coming right up to it. So some people will say it'll stay and we'll leave it there, but it might die. So we end up paying for it and leaving it there. So we'll go with that too. We also work with the town of Lisbon to know what stays and what goes. So as far as trees in the right of way, and one loan on the right side has a lilac bush there and the town wants it to stay and the state now is saying no.
That herb won't survive. Salt will kill it in a year or two.
Correct. You're really grading right up to it, but if they really want us to leave it, fine.
There are some trees that are salt hardy that arms are not.
No.
What's the green line mean on here?
Right away.
Right away.
Maybe.
So the green line is existing right away
Okay,
up on the screen. The
But-
yellow line is our proposed grading limits.
so in the lower right-hand corner,
Yeah.
why does the right-of-way jump out? There's just a little bump out there
Yep, right here. Yep.
for the driveway, yeah.
Yep. So when they obtained the right of way for Highway Q, that's as far back as they went on that property. Instead of being a nice straight line, that's as
Because
far
of the
as
house?
they went back. Probably because of the house, maybe a setback or
Okay, a little
something.
more setback,
Right.
okay.
So, but yes, you can see that it definitely jogs there. It jogs in the upper right-hand corner by the court here, a little jog. So it's not 100% uniform. And if you look at our right-of-way plats that we've been doing on Highway W and Highway M, we go in and out all the time because we're trying to limit the impacts versus 100-foot, this is what we're going to take.
Depending on what the banking.
Correct,
you have
yeah.
to-
So the old days of 100-foot, this is what we're going to take, and then we'll figure out what we're going to put inside the right of way. We do a lot more of, which really upsets the utility companies because they want to put their poles as far back or their gas main as far back. You got one it's out, one it's in, one it's out, then one's in. But we're trying to keep the land in the landowner's hands as much as we can, right? A lot of them have the landscaping or trees or dog wire fence, right? I mean, all this stuff versus just saying, oh, we're just going to take this land from you and you don't even need it. It's more of a philosophy change than anything.
Working with people better.
Yes, we have more buy-in that if we
Right.
don't have to impact 2 properties and impact the third one, we only have to go in, 5-6 feet on that one, but don't impact other neighbors. It saves us a lot of time and effort too, and money. So there's reasons for it on the other side too.
Yep.
Okay,
I just have one question on the MOU.
Yeah.
It's just basically a typo. When under A, it says reconstruction of roundabout.
Oh,
It should be It says construction all the way through.
That's probably because it probably said reconstruction of the bridge.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not,
So we will-
not a big
We
deal.
will make that in it though. I
Yeah.
appreciate putting it out.
catch.
It was a pretty quick turnaround time on the.
Yeah.
So, fully admit that we plagiarized the one that was,
That's right. Why reinvent the wheel?
right, they were happy with it, we were happy before, the attorneys reviewed it, so no reason to rock the boat and put something in there that someone might not like.
Okay, any other discussion?
Good.
Well, someone like to make a motion?
I make,
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for County Highway Q and relocation for County Highway Q. Or do they need to be separate motions?
I think it could be one motion.
I'll second. There being no further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, take it to the county board. Our next meeting, is probably gonna be March 23rd. If we do decide to go forward with the 175 and S project, we could move that to March 30th. That's okay with John, is that, I mean, it's probably not a good chance that that'll happen, but
Yeah. That should get it off. 30th, yeah, that should be okay.
Okay.
That would work for me.
well, for now, we'll say it's gonna be the 23rd, so. All right, this meeting's adjourned.